Let's talk money and let's talk assets and how this works. We're going to talk what we call liquid asset. We're going to semi-liquid assets and just assets in general. So let's start with just regular assets. Your regular assets are what we call is stuff that you own that's worth money that has a value to it. It could be either cash or made into cash or even sold. So let's talk liquid asset. Liquid asset is the money that you would have in your checking account, your savings account, your rainy day fund. You can grab onto this money right then and now. You don't have to wait. You don't really have to even go visit a bank. Then what's in your bank account is also considered liquid assets because it's easy to get to. For the most part, you go there, you say you want your money, they give it to you. So that would be liquid. This is money that mercy came or something like that, you can use right away. This is the reason why they always say have a mercy fund. This is what we call liquid or liquidity, cash that you can get your hands on right now. Now let's talk kind of what we consider semi-liquid cash. So take your investments in your brokerage account. Some people would say that's a liquid, but I say it's semi-liquid. Why? Because you have to wait somewhere between 72 hours or 3 days, business days, to get that money. So if you got an account with, T. Rowe Price, Vanguard, Fidelity, anyone that you feel to blame. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just what I know works for me. When you ask them for your money, they sell back so many shares, or you sell back so many shares, and they send you the money into your bank account. This is what I call semi-liquid because, yes, you can get it in a relatively easy of a time, but you still got about 72 hours to wait on that money. Then when you talk about what I call an asset, but it's kind of a hard asset, is let's take your house. Now, there's two ways you can do the house as an asset. First of all, one that's what I call semi-liquid is this. You say you buy a house. I was blessed to buy a house, and when I bought the house, the market wasn't where it was today. The market went up, went crazy. Now the house is worth double what I paid for it. So if I wanted to say, hey, my house is worth this much money now, the difference between what I owe is about $500,000. I can go to the bank and say, hey, I want to get a loan on this equity, and as long as I got the credit, they're going to give me that money. I call that semi-liquid because it still takes the time to do that. You do all the paperwork, the loan, you're talking 10 to 15 business days before you get that money to you. The only bad part is that the good part is you have that money. If you're taking that money, you're investing in other properties, then your money makes money for you. But if you're just taking the money and blowing it on something new, you still got to pay yourself back, which would be more at a higher interest rate with today's rates. Then you have what I call hard asset, which is your house in general. You can take it and sell it and take all the money and put it on another house, or you can just take it and sell it and you can downsize. And that money is your money. It's a hard asset. Some people always try to count cars as assets. And I would tell you this, if you have a classic car, then I would consider it an asset. If you have a regular car, whatever it is, not really an asset like you think. Yes, you may pay it off a little faster, so when you trade it in, you get more money, or you may be able to sell it for more than what the dealer will give you, but not unless it's one of those classic cars and one of those nice sports cars, you're not going to really sell it for more than what you paid for. So it's a depreciation asset, and that's why most people don't count cars as assets. Now, when you start talking your 401k, your TSP, and stuff like that, it could be liquid asset, but or what I call semi-liquid, but it can be used in the wrong way where you could be penalized. I'll give you a true story. For me, when I moved from one part of town near Fort Hood out to here in Bastrop, I was able to take a loan out on my 401k. The beauty of my loan is set through Fidelity and my company, so I didn't have to pay a penalty to get that money because certain 401ks, there's rules that you don't pay a penalty to do it. And moving expenses was one of them. So when I borrowed the money for moving expense For myself, they kept that $10,000 still in my account. The only thing I had to do is pay that money back plus 4% interest to myself that went back in my account. And if you really think about it, 4% interest, right, on $10,000 is only $400. So I paid myself back the $10,000 plus the 400. So I had 10,400, and I never lost any liquidity or any investment power into my fund, because as long as I still work for the same company, my fund did not take it as money taken out. Also, I didn't have to pay a penalty, because taking money normally out of your 401k, if you're under 59 and a half, you get charged a penalty. No penalty charged because the way it was done. If you ever find yourself into a life-changing experience, or maybe moving, you may want to check on that. Instead of taking a loan, you get the loan for yourself. Your money continues to make money, and you pay yourself back. It all depends on how your 401k is set up. The rules are the same as far as borrowing for yourself. The taxpayer won't give you a penalty, but your company may not support where the money stays there. It is just loaned out. So that's something you can check out. Again, it's not financial advice. I'm just telling you what works for me. But you must get this liquid/asset thing together. See, your assets is stuff. Like I say, it may be free money. It may be this kind of money. It may be liquidity money. But it's assets don't mean that you can always spend it. It's just like your net worth. When people talk net worth, it's all your cash that you have, right? Plus whatever the property and stuff is worth, and then you take away what you owe, and that's how you get your net worth. This net worth thing is important, but your assets is important. Liquidity of cash is important. See, it's different to be a millionaire, or what they consider net worth of a millionaire, than to have $1 million. See, if a person has $1 million, their net worth is probably more close to about 2 million, 2.5, because $1 million in cash, that's all your investments, that's your emergency fund, that's your retirement funds, your brokerage accounts, and everything else. If that equals up to $1 million in cash, then you are truly a millionaire. Not just net worth of a millionaire. See, your net worth of a millionaire means you probably have to sell everything you have and say, okay, now I'm worth $1 million. See, when you have $1 million, then you are what they call a millionaire. If you have the net worth of $1 million, then that's what they consider to be an everyday millionaire. There's a difference. See, when you listen to Dave Ramsey and the other guys, when they say, hey, everyday millionaire, they're counting your net worth. That means your house value and everything else. But when you have that cash of $1 million, then you are truly a millionaire, not just net worth. So sometimes when you see the statistics that plays along in the stock market and all these other places that gives you these people $1 million, they always say their net worth is $1 million. See, when you see all these people, they say their net worth is more than $1 billion. A lot of them don't have $1 billion in cash. They got a net worth of $1 billion. Now, I understand when you got net worth of $1 billion, you probably got plenty in cash. But say when you got net worth of $1 million, you may not even have hardly that much in cash. So the point of when you get that net worth, having that good credit and everything to work for you, that investment to work for you, so that you can get that money of a millionaire, because that's when your life truly changes. Now, this ain't for everybody. This ain't investment advice for everybody. But I'm telling you, you may not ever be a millionaire. That's okay. But you can learn to get your piece of pie by following rules of what millionaires do. The stock market, index funds, ETFs, low-cost ETFs. That means you can get ETFs and you can get index funds with 0% fee to buy into it. Or you can get it for less than 1%. Fidelity, they don't pay me nothing for this, but Fidelity is a good company for that. But it takes a little bit to start with them. But then you have Vanguard. I'm sorry, Fidelity don't take a lot to start with. You can start with less than $50 to $100. Vanguard normally has a buy-in, but it's still your money. And then you got T. Rowe Price is a good company. When I was a young person, I started out with T. Rowe Price because they do have some funds that's lower than that 1% threshold I like to talk about. But these index funds, these ETFs, this stuff is what rich people invest in. Don't get me wrong, they still put some of their money into stocks, but their basic core is index funds and ETFs. And that's just a statistics that's always been. See, and then they dabble in the stock market itself when they get a good stock tip from their rich friends who tells them, hey, this is the next best thing. But see, we don't need to be trying to fly by the next thing. We need to fly with the solid thing. Warren Buffett, I want you to look him up. He's got a plan when he passes away, and he's probably not got a lot of years left, but he does a 3-fund portfolio for his money. And that's going to be in his trust for his children, grandchildren, because that's how much money he got. But if he's taking his money as a multi-billionaire and making sure that this is invested in this, not the regular stock market, but index fund and ETFs, what do you think we should be able to do? We may not never be a billionaire like him. We may not be a millionaire like a lot of people, but you can get your piece of the pie. And if you invest long enough, $1 million don't take long to get to. Trust me. So with that being said, I'm telling you, you're built for greatness. You're built for success, and you are built to have the life that you want. But it takes work. Some people say, I work hard, and you we're going to have to work hard. You can't look at hard work as a dirty word. You can't look at sustaining from other stuff until you get the money as a dirty word. Yes, you may not be able to buy those Michael Jordan shoes, those Michael Kors purse. Yes, you may say, you know what, instead of 5 Michael Jordan tennis shoes this year, I only get 1. So that way you can put that other money into the fund. We waste so much money on stuff. We may have to cut down on how many times we go out to eat a week, how many times we get our nails done and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, if you can get this in your head, you can have your piece of the pie. It doesn't mean you stop doing everything you like. That doesn't mean you don't wear nice clothes or have nice jewelry. It just means you put all of it in perspective. This video is a little longer than what I thought it was going to be. May not have been able to show it all on Facebook. I'll probably do just a small reel to kind of sell what I'm talking about, and the longer version will be on YouTube because this is important. Those assets, knowing your net worth, knowing your credit score. See, without credit score, without knowing what our credit score and the power, how to use the credit score, this is where we go wrong. And credit cards itself. We have to get out of that credit card mentality. It is a trap. Credit cards normally run right now in today's world 29.99%. You will never get off under that if you have a lot of money. Just think about it. If you have a $10,000 loan and you at 20% a year, that's $2,000 more just interest. And if you got 29, that's $3,000 more interest a year. And depending on how that interest is calculated, it could be even more. I don't know anybody who says, give me $10,000, I'll pay you $3,000 back in 1 year. So if it goes longer, then you in that trap even more. And it just piles on and piles on. And I know, because I'm a guy that had some credit card debt. And one day I woke up and said, enough's enough. I went on Credit Karma. They don't pay me nothing. This ain't financial advice. They had 22-month or 24-month credit card, 0% interest. I put everything on that, and I paid it off within about a year and I think about 18 months. And then after that, that was it. No more credit card for me. It takes discipline. It takes change. Don't let people think, let them tell you can't change. You can. Don't try to live like the Joneses. The Joneses will keep you poor. I'm telling you, I know it works because it's worked for me. I know it works and it worked for me. I work a job right now. They pay me good money. But if for some reason something happens, I'm set for the rest of my life. And I know this because I have saved. I have put off self-gratification on some things. Not too long ago, I was thinking about buying a new car. And I have a new car. It's not even old. It's not even a 2 years old yet. But I was thinking about buying a four-door Porsche. And the one I looked at is a program, because I don't buy them brand news no more, because somebody else is already eroded a little bit. But the money, when you take it off the lot, it's goes down. So I looked at a Porsche, and it was about, I think, somewhere between $80,000 to $90,000, and I can afford it. And I thought about buying it. And then I started thinking, I drive a nice Lexus. Why get a Porsche? I could get one, but that's $90,000 I can do something with, probably in the stock market, that makes it at the end where I have more money to do what I want to do besides driving a Porsche. Because one thing I learned about cars is when you get the car that you think is your dream car, you wind up finding another dream car. So not unless it's just something you really want or something you think you really need. Don't go changing every 5 seconds or change every day. Set it off a little bit. Wait. You never know. The way the market is, the way the economy's going right now, and even used cars and even houses. If you look at them, houses are staying on the market longer, right? And they're going down. People getting better deals. Car prices are going down. And those program cars, those certified programs that I normally buy, are going down too. So instead of buying right now, I'm going to wait. I'm not saying that's for you to do. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. And I still may get the Porsche, but instead of $90,000, maybe I'll get it for $70,000 or $60,000. Then I'll feel a lot better because I save money. Some people know me. They'll tell you I'll wait them out. I will wait them out. Why? Because if I'm going to save me 30 grand, I think that wait is long enough. So I'm telling you, you could do this. Shake off them haters. Shake off the naysayers. Don't go around believing that you can't. That's the mentality that people want you to believe. When you get to the point where you believe that you can't, you won't. But if you believe that you can, you will start. Like I said, you have buckets of money, buckets of investment, buckets of savings. And those buckets is what you'll be able to draw off in the end. You know, it's people you know. Look around. They're still working. Some of them work because they want to. But it's a lot of them that works because they have to. And when you get a certain age in life, not unless you just want to work, that's fine. But you shouldn't have to work, not unless you just want to. Some people I know do it because they want to get out of the house. I don't blame them. But there's some people I know that work that don't want to go punch a clock, that not even have the health to actually punch the clock. But they do it because this savings thing that I'm talking to you about right now, they never did. See, there's so many vehicles to save on, and there's so many stocks, and you got people on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube. They'll say, oh, buy this, buy this, buy this. I never tell you to buy this. I will just tell you what works for me. I get it. It's a lot of stuff it sounds real good, but if you look at when Bitcoin was down low, then it went up to about 50,000 or 60,000. Now it's under 20. It don't look as sexy as it used to look no more. And there's a lot of people who lost a lot of money. But I'm going to tell you something. You do a little homework, do the history of index funds and ETFs, you'll realize that they have always beat what the average market is. Now, all index funds and all ETFs are not created equal. So I will tell you, it's some index funds that mirrors the S&P 500. And there's some index funds that mirrors the Dow itself, and there's some index funds that mirrors the bond market, and there's some index funds that mirrors the international fund. And normally I do a 3-portfolio, which normally is the Dow, which mirrors the Dow, which is a total market fund, or it mirrors the S&P, which is a 500 index fund, or I do a U.S. bond fund. But one I've added was international fund, because when the international is not doing as good, the U.S. is normally doing good. When the U.S. is not doing as good, the international does better. So it's a balance out thing. So, but look into that. 2 companies I use, I told you before. I don't have the call signs with me. Maybe I'll put it in the box. If not, you can always put a comment in. Remember, it's not financial advice, but I'll still tell you what I do. So, but I do use for my index funds, I use Fidelity. And for my ETF funds, I use Vanguard. And because they have the lowest cost. And that's just the way I roll. I don't want to pay a bunch of money out to everybody. And some people say, why don't you get a financial advisor? And I say, well, you know, I know people I talk to, but if I made it this far, why do I need to go even farther? There's a company, it's called Fisher Investments. Like I told you before, they send me a letter every 6 months to a year. Says, welcome, you've made it to this place in your life to where you at this percentage, and we do not mess with, and really, they do not invest with people not unless you have at least $500,000 in liquid, which means in cash, or, you know, with the investments. And so when they send you a letter, it's because they know that, hey, you have this much money to start investing with them, at least 500,000. But here's the problem. They charge you a fee. And the way I look at it is this, and the way I want you to look at it. If you have made your way all this time without them investing for you, and you have made that kind of money, what you going to start with them for now? Why am I going to change what I'm doing when I know what I'm doing is proven? Index funds, ETFs, hey, you can't beat them. One that mirrors the S&P 500, one that mirrors the Dow, and one that mirrors the bond fund. And if you want to get a little bit more, one that mirrors the international fund. And guess what? You can look that up when you go on there. You can Google it, and it'll even tell you that. Again, I'm telling you, you can do this. Shake off the naysayers, shake off the haters. Start cutting back on stuff that you don't need. I'm not saying get rid of all of it, but cut back some, because I'm telling you, this is important. I won't, like I said, this will be on my YouTube because it's longer. I will make a little short to kind of let people know that if you want to see the rest of it when it comes to this investment thing, you would have to look at it on my YouTube. But I'm telling you, you can do this. Be blessed.